You know what's exhausting? Holding on to people who've already let go of you, convincing yourself that if you just try a little harder, explain yourself a little clearer, show up a little more consistently, they'll finally see your worth. They'll finally choose you. They'll finally make you a priority. But here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. If someone wants to be in your life, you'll know. And if they don't, you'll be confused. That confusion you're feeling right now, that's your answer. That constant second guessing, the mental gymnastics trying to figure out where you stand with them, the anxiety every time your phone buzzes hoping it's them, that's not love. That's not friendship. That's not any kind of relationship worth having. That's you trying to solve a puzzle that was never meant to fit together in the first place. And I think we all know this on some level. Deep down, we know when someone isn't meeting us halfway. We know when we're the only one reaching out, the only one making plans, the only one who seems to care if the relationship survives or dies. But knowing and accepting are two completely different things, because accepting means letting go. And letting go feels like failure. It feels like giving up. It feels like admitting that you weren't enough to make them stay, to make them care, to make them try. But that's the lie we tell ourselves. The lie that keeps us stuck in relationships that drained us dry years ago. You were always enough. They just weren't capable of seeing it, receiving it, or appreciating it. And that's not your problem to fix. Let me tell you something that changed everything for me. You cannot love someone into loving you back. You cannot care for someone into caring about you. You cannot invest in someone until they finally decide you're worth investing in. It doesn't work that way. All you can do is show up as yourself, offer what you have to offer, and see if they match your energy. And if they don't, if they leave you on read for days, cancel plans repeatedly, only show up when they need something, treat you like an option while you're treating them like a priority, you let them. You just let them do exactly what they're doing. Not because you don't care, but because their actions are showing you exactly who they are and what you mean to them. And when someone shows you who they are, believe them. The first time, not the 15th time after you've exhausted yourself trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I know what you're thinking, but what if they're going through something? What if they're just busy? What if I'm being too sensitive, too demanding, too needy? And sure, everyone goes through rough patches, everyone gets overwhelmed. But there's a difference between someone who's temporarily distracted and someone who's permanently disinterested. A person who values you will communicate. They'll let you know they're struggling. They'll make an effort, even if it's small, to show you that you still matter. They won't leave you in the dark wondering where you stand. They won't make you feel like you're bothering them by existing. They won't make you question whether you're important to them. Because when you're important to someone, they make it obvious, not through words, through actions. Consistent, reliable, thoughtful actions that say, you matter to me and I'm not going anywhere. But we don't want to see that, do we? We want to see potential. We want to see the version of them that showed up in the beginning, the version that made us feel special and chosen and seen. We want to believe that person is still in there and just buried under stress or fear or past trauma. And maybe that's true. Maybe they are capable of being that person again. But here's the hard part. Not with you. At least not right now. Because for whatever reason, they've decided that you're not the person they want to show up for. And you can't force that. You can't earn that. You can't convince someone to prioritize you if they've already decided you're optional. All you can do is accept that this version of them, the one that's pulling away, the one that's inconsistent, the one that makes you feel small, this is who they're choosing to be in your life right now. And you get to decide if that's something you're willing to accept. Here's where it gets really uncomfortable. Letting go doesn't mean cutting people off dramatically or making some big statement about how you're done. It just means releasing your grip on the outcome. It means stopping the constant effort to maintain something they've already abandoned. It means no longer initiating every conversation, no longer making excuses for their behavior, no longer convincing yourself that things will change if you just hang in there a little longer. It means creating space, real space, not the manipulative kind where you pull back, hoping they'll notice and chase you, but genuine space where you're focusing on your own life, your own peace, your own growth, regardless of whether they step up or step out. And in that space, one of two things will happen. Either they'll realize what they're losing and actually do the work to earn their way back into your life, or they won't. And both of those outcomes will tell you everything you need to know. Because here's the thing about people who truly value you. They don't need to lose you to appreciate you. They don't need you to go silent for 2 weeks before they realize they miss you. They don't need a wake-up call to treat you with basic respect and consideration. They just do it. Naturally. Consistently. Without you having to teach them how. And if someone needs you to disappear before they recognize your worth, they didn't value you in the first place. They valued the attention you gave them. They valued the way you made them feel. They valued having someone around who was always available, always understanding, always willing to accept the bare minimum. But they didn't value you. Not really. Because if they did, they wouldn't risk losing you by treating you like you don't matter. And I know this hurts. I know it feels like you're giving up on someone you care about. But you're not giving up. You're waking up. You're finally seeing the relationship for what it is, instead of what you hoped it would become. And that clarity, as painful as it is the first step toward freedom. Because you can't heal from something you're still pretending doesn't hurt. You can't move forward while you're still holding on to people who are perfectly fine moving forward without you. At some point, you have to stop waiting for them to change and start accepting that this is who they are. This is what they're offering. And it's not enough. It's okay to admit that. It's okay to want more. It's okay to expect the people in your life to actually act like they want to be there. Now let's talk about the other side of this. Because letting them go isn't just about releasing the people who don't value you. It's also about making space for the people who do. The ones who don't make you guess how they feel. The ones who show up without being begged. The ones who make time for you, not just when it's convenient, but because you're a priority. The ones who see you at your worst and don't disappear. The ones who communicate, who check in, who make you feel like you're not a burden for having needs and feelings and expectations. Those people exist, but you won't find them if you're too busy holding on to people who've already let you go. You won't recognize healthy love if you're still normalizing neglect. You won't attract people who value you if you're still accepting treatment that says you're disposable. And here's what I've learned about those right people. You don't have to convince them to care. You don't have to perform or prove yourself or shrink parts of who you are to make room for them. They just fit easily naturally, without all the drama and confusion and exhaustion that came with the wrong ones. They call you just to talk about nothing. They remember the small things you mentioned in passing. They make plans and actually follow through. They apologize when they mess up instead of making you feel crazy for being hurt. They show up on a random Thursday, not because it's a special occasion, but because spending time with you is the occasion. That's what you're making space for when you let the wrong people go. Not perfection, not someone who never disappoints you. Just someone who consistently tries. Someone who sees you as a priority, not an option. Someone who makes you feel chosen, not confused. But you can't receive that if your hands are full holding on to people who don't deserve the grip. You can't build something new if you're still trying to repair something that's been broken from the start. At some point, you have to trust yourself enough to walk away from what's not working. Even if it's scary, even if you're afraid of being alone, even if some part of you still believes they might change, because staying in situations that drain you just to avoid the discomfort of leaving, that's not love, that's not loyalty, right? That's fear. Fear of starting over, fear of being wrong about someone, fear that maybe you're the problem, that maybe if you were different, better, more, they would have stayed. But that's the thing. You were never the problem. Your love wasn't the problem. Your effort wasn't the problem. The problem was trying to build something meaningful with someone who wasn't ready, willing, or capable of meeting you there. And no amount of trying on your part will change that. So let them walk away. Let them choose someone else. Let them go weeks without reaching out. Let them prove that you were never a priority. Let them show you through their absence what their presence never quite confirmed. Let them live without you. Because the truth is, they've already been living without you. You were just too busy trying to make it work to notice. You were giving 100% to someone who was giving 20 on a good day. You were building a home in someone who was renting out space to whoever showed up. You were pouring into a relationship that had a leak the entire time. And now you're exhausted. Now you're depleted. Now you're sitting here wondering why you're not enough. But you are enough. You've always been enough. You're just finally realizing that enough isn't something you prove to people. It's something you know about yourself. And then once you know it, once you truly believe it, you stop accepting treatment that suggests otherwise. And here's where the real shift happens. When you stop chasing people who are running away from you, you start attracting people who are running towards you. When you stop tolerating breadcrumbs, you start recognizing what a full meal looks like. When you stop making excuses for people's behavior, you start holding them accountable. And yes, that means some people will leave. Some people will choose to walk away rather than step up. Some relationships will end, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because they were never built to last. And that's okay. That's more than okay. Because every person who leaves creates space. Space for peace, space for growth, space for people who are actually ready to love you the way you deserve to be loved. Not someday, not eventually, not once they work through their stuff. Right now, as you are, without conditions or caveats or constant questioning. So if you're sitting here watching this video because someone in your life has been making you feel small, invisible, unimportant, this is your permission to let them. Let them keep doing what they're doing. But you stop waiting for them to change. You stop explaining yourself. You stop accepting less than you deserve just because you're afraid of losing them. Because losing someone who doesn't value you isn't loss. It's liberation. It's freedom. It's you finally choosing yourself after months, maybe years of choosing them. And I promise you, once you make that choice, once you truly let go, you'll realize just how much energy you've been wasting trying to hold on to something that was never yours to keep. You'll realize how much lighter you feel when you're not carrying the weight of a one-sided relationship. You'll realize that the person you were trying so hard to be for them was never who you needed to be in the first place. You just needed to be yourself, fully, unapologetically, and trust that the right people will love that version of you without you having to beg for it. Now, if something in this video hit you, if you felt that recognition in your chest, that uncomfortable truth settling in, I want you to do something. Go to the comments and type 3 words. I choose me. That's it. No explanation, no backstory, just those 3 words. Because saying it out loud, even in writing, shifts something. It takes a private realization and makes it a public commitment. It tells your nervous system that you're serious, that you're done settling, that you're finally ready to prioritize your own peace over someone else's comfort. And if you know someone who's stuck in this cycle, someone who keeps giving their energy to people who don't give it back, share this with them. Ask them to write it too. I choose me. Because sometimes we need permission to put ourselves first. This is that permission. The truth is, you were never theirs to lose. You were always your own. And the moment you remember that, the moment you stop trying to earn a place in someone's life and start protecting your place in your own, everything changes. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop accepting inconsistency. You stop waiting for people to see your value because you've finally seen it yourself. And once you see it, once you really know your worth, you become unapologetically selective about who gets access to you. Not in an arrogant way, in a protective way, in a way that says, I've worked too hard on myself to let just anyone into my space. I've healed too much to go backward for anyone. I've learned too much to accept what I used to tolerate. And that shift, that boundary, that's not you being difficult. That's you being wise. That's you honoring the journey it took to get here. That's you refusing to give away what you fought so hard to build. Your peace, your clarity, your sense of self. Those things are precious. And not everyone deserves access to them. So let them go. Let them show you who they are. And let yourself move forward into relationships that don't require you to shrink, perform, or prove anything. You've already proven enough. Now it's time to just be, and be chosen for it.